Citigroup yesterday talked about cost cutting, and that to some extent offset the bad news of the trading revenue. But earlier as well, you talked about the challenge of revenue growth. So how do U.S. banks grow that revenue organically, or will there have to be consolidation?
There's going to be consolidation, absolutely. Now, it won't be the big four, because many of them are at the deposit cap in the United States. They can't purchase their way over 10% of the deposits in the United States by law. However, you'll see more BB&T and SunTrust. I don't know if you'll see a large number of them, because there just aren't as many banks as there used to be, but there'll be a steady drumbeat of consolidation as we go forward. We announced a merger last night in Connecticut ourselves. It was a smaller deal, only about $800 million, but you'll continue to see more acquisitions to generate more earnings per share growth and scale, really. And the scale is necessary to compete with the bigger banks.
How do the bigger banks then generate better revenue?
The bigger banks, so my opinion is banks should grow when it's appropriate to grow. It is hard to manufacture growth. If you push too hard, that's how you make mistakes in the banking industry. Remember, they are creatures of the economy. It's not often that they have grown multiple times faster than GDP growth. So they use a little bit of capital management. They use a little bit of positive operating leverage. The big banks have about 50% of their revenue comes from net interest income. Fed policy matters there. Net interest margins are going down. They're going to have to manage their way through a slower earnings per share growth period until we get some steadying out in monetary policy.
Why aren't we seeing more regional BB&T SunTrust mergers? Is it because they don't have a leg up on technology versus the majors? I mean, I've been surprised. We just haven't seen more of those, have we?
Well, I think, first of all, there are fewer banks. When I started, there were 18,000 banks back in the late 80s. Today, there are 5,000 banks. So there aren't that many big banks to come together. And remember, Tom, Congress with Dodd-Frank had added that $50 billion layer for increased regulation.
So you want to stay under that layer?
You had. Now we've changed that with the Crapo bill last year. So now you're going to see the 88 or so banks between 10 and 50 billion. That's where you're going to see the consolidation. You'll see a lot of that. And then you're going to see the periodic bigger bank like a SunTrust and BB&T.